what was I going to say about Disney? Something recent. Oh, that's why I like cartoons, older cartoons and movies, and maybe even books. I like things to have a disclaimer because
Mm,
I like being able to watch movies and enjoy media. And if it makes you uncomfortable, the shit that they did in the movie,
hmm
good. That means that you're being a better person. You're better than who you were. Because there's a lot of old movies, old cartoons where you're like, fuck, man, really? And I
Yeah.
don't want to get rid of that because I feel like that deifies Disney. I feel like if you get rid
Mm.
of it, you might not, you might, when I tell you that Disney was was racist and did racist
Mhm.
shit, you might be like, prove it. And I'm like, fuck, well,
Right. You
they
know what?
deleted all their shit. I can't.
Exactly. And that's kind of the same way that I feel about it because, recently, and this is something we talked about before we even started the stream, was we've had two recent examples of the same thing happening. One was with Dr. Seuss and six of those books being no longer published. Now, that doesn't mean that they'll no longer be available and that the images won't be able to be viewed and whatnot, but you will no longer be able to easily acquire a copy of those books. Right. And it was because a lot of insensitive images. And one of the images that I brought up that I saw was one that we could see as being a caricature, not even a caricature. It was just it was an image of a nondescript Asian man who was had a yellow skin or whatever, and had, I don't know exactly what the outfit is, but like a very typical outfit of the times and whatnot, and holding a bowl with chopsticks. Now that was held up as being one of the examples that was super egregious and super offensive. And it's like, okay, it's like on one hand I can get like the yellow skin part, but I was like we've all seen people wear those dresses. We've seen people wear that attire to this day. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it's not like they don't use chopsticks anymore to eat their food. That still continues to be popular to this day. So it's like, like you said, like I much prefer having the disclaimer there, what I'm saying, that like, hey, there may be some very, narrow-minded or very, stereotypical images and whatnot. Same thing with blackface. No, I don't enjoy it and whatnot, but ultimately, if like I would want to see that and show it to others to be like, oh, blackface is racist. Oh yeah, well, show us why. You see this connotation of how it's being used to depict people who are dark-skinned as like, saying, being portrayed like this, or even other images that Dr. Seuss had that were really very egregious towards Asian communities, like no questions, ifs, ands, or buts. But, like you, I prefer to have it there and to be able to say, hey, give a disclaimer before, you may see things that make you feel a certain way, or, blah, 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 blah. I'm cool with that. And then the other one was Lola Bunny, I guess, from the new
Space Jam.
Space Jam #2 with what's his fucking name, the King, LeBron James, right?
I'm not singing the Space Jam theme song in my head right now.
Right, woo, woo.
No, it's the
Yeah,
everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
yeah, that was, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. See, right there, that nostalgia and shit. It's like it was one of those things that really seep deep. But the change that they made was, Lola Bunny, like the whole Looney Tunes universe is about anthropomorphized animals, right? Animals with human characteristics that they actually don't fucking have, right? And Lola Bunny being like one of the only women characters, because there were other women in there, but there's like an old granny and like, is Tweety Bird a girl?
Tweety Bird has always been like a
Androgynous?
non-binary.
Non-binary, androgynous. See, that's what trips me out about the non-binary thing. I was like, wait, didn't we already have a term for that? But I guess always new terms come up to describe different things. Because
Sure.
androgynous to me was like,
And I think androgynous is more accurate.
yeah, right, yeah, right, exactly. But
I have no idea. I
right,
just
but
know that I don't think we've ever used pronouns with Tweety.
right, exactly. Tweety is just Tweety. Tweety's a bird. But Lola Bunny, she is depicted with a very curvaceous figure, right? And, it's been changed to have a much more modest figure. And my take on it was, I was like, I understand the decision, especially because, she's one of the only women characters in there that's even portrayed that way. It'd be one thing if you have a bunch of women who, saying have a different, different figures and whatnot. But it was like the moment that she stepped into the room, into the scene and everything in the first movie, you had all the dudes doing the typical eyes bulging out of their head, tongues rolling out of their mouth, all that goofy shit. To me, if I could have been the one to make the decision, I would have been like, keep her figure the same, but the men they don't all act like dogs. They're just like, oh, hey, that's Lola. And Lola is Lola. Yeah, she might be a hot, a hot bunny, but for this situation, she's just a team player, because it's not as if there's any shortage of women who have the figures, like she has in the first film, and equally as those in the more recent adaptation.
So it's been a while since I've seen the original Space Jam, but I saw a lot of people sharing that meme comparing the Lola Bunny, and I saw a lot of people sharing not an actual still from the original film, but a fan-drawn thing of Lola Bunny.
Yes.
And my thing with Lola Bunny's redesign is I don't care. Have you watched the new HBO Looney Tunes?
I have. What? No. No, I didn't even.
They are really funny. They're beautiful. They're well done. They did some nods to original Bugs Bunny, where Bugs Bunny now has a yellow gloves, and that was a really old thing that Bugs Bunny did.
Wait, yellow gloves or white gloves?
Yeah, yellow.
Oh shit!
It's a hell of a throwback. And Gossamer, do you know who Gossamer is?
Gossamer,
he's a big hairy red monster.
Oh, that's his name? Okay, I know who I know who it is. Yeah.
They put fingernails on Gossamer, and
Oh yeah.
It's strange, but I got used to it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with new designs because they are cartoons,
right?
And the cartoons have evolved throughout time. So I couldn't care less about Lola's figure, about her breast size going down. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. Just give me Looney Tunes playing basketball. I'm okay with that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's my, and that's kind of the other thing, right? Is like I said, like, yeah, I would just change the reaction of the male characters within the universe and shit to not make it so blatantly like, oh, we're all ogling at this, super, conventionally attractive woman, as opposed to just being a Lola. But then the other thing is that, like, y'all, this is cartoon. We all know Rule 34. There's no shortage of more explicit imagery if you want to seek that shit out. Because in the threads, like on Twitter and everything, I was seeing people sharing those images as well, Rule 34 images. For those who don't know what Rule 34 is, it's basically that for any image or idea that exists, there is a pornographic equivalent of it.
I've often said to people that I will only ever know I've made it big when I see porn of my characters.
Have you seen any porn of your characters yet?
Until that happens, I am small potatoes.
Small potatoes.
Until that happens, when I see porn of my characters, and it's weird because, like, I feel like some people would be like, oh, that's not why I made the character. Don't make porn of it. But I feel like me, I'd be like, here's my money. I want to buy it. I want to buy that print. I want to own it.
Give me done. Give me the G-rated one and give me the X-rated one. I want one of each.
Do you want me to draw that? I can draw it. Let's. I'm all for. So it's interesting that you said just make the guy's reaction not the usual sexist bullshit, the misogynist thing where it's like, oh, she's hot kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I find that funny because I keep thinking about Suicide Squad movie versus Birds of Prey, because you still had Margot Robbie. But now you have a female director, and you have that scene where she's getting changed when all the villains are putting on their gear and they're getting ready to fight, and all the military people stop to watch Harley Quinn get changed. In Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn has a fight scene in jail, in a white T-shirt with it's all wet, and there's just a sprinkler system going on. And they did not sexualize that scene whatsoever. It was just her beating up all of the bad guys in sprinklers going down. And have you seen Birds of Prey?
I haven't seen either. I'm not a big movie person. Cool.
I don't necessarily recommend Suicide Squad. I enjoy it, but it's like I enjoy Mario Brothers. It's not a good movie, but it's gonna. I get it. I kick it.
It hits a certain spot, but it's not exactly high. Not high art.
But Birds of Prey. That's a weird fucking movie where what I like about movies is show me something I've never seen before. That's all I want. And they have this really cool fight scene in a sprinkler system where the slow motion is not overly done. It's done really well. And a lot of times the water adds an element to the slow motion that's just fantastic. And I feel like seeing the contrast between having a male director versus a female director direct the same character, the same person, the same actress, is astounding. And I
Yes.
agree with you that if they kept Lola Bunny's figure, which I'm okay with, again, I don't care if they keep it. I don't care if they change it because it's evolution. Cartoons do it, whatever.
Right.
Um, but I do think that it would have been cool. And they're still probably not going to have the guys have the whole droop, the jaw hitting the ground, the big bug eye kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, simple as that. It's just having different sensitivities to the shit. It's like, would you, if you seen a woman, or just whatever you're attracted to, if you seen somebody that was just especially appealing to your aesthetics and everything, would you just go in their face and just drool and just ogle at them, stare? Quite a few motherfuckers will do that, but it's like most people, if you ask them directly, they'll say like, no, of course I wouldn't do that because they know that it would be received, in a very negative way because it is a very obscene fucking, behavior. It's like fucking control yourself. It's like there's nothing saying that you can't go. Like that's the funny thing, right? Is that like you have people like the Quartering and these other right-wing reactionaries that are like, oh, you're taking away, you're destroying my cartoon, you're destroying this cancel culture run amok and everything. And it's like, well, no, it's not as if liberal, left-wing, progressive people don't, saying care about sex or it's not as if we don't care. We don't have an appreciation for these lower basic, impulses and shit. But it's just how much. It's like a correction to how they've been overemphasized and been focused on, glorified way too much. Because like you said, changing the figures and everything, it's like, okay, whatever. But then these motherfuckers make it seem as if like you're destroying my childhood and everything. It's like, why was your childhood bent on? It's like even disregarding the specifics of like these characters. Why is your identity in your childhood based so much on these entertainment figures, on this entertainment, on these commodities? You know what I'm saying? Shit that could have gone, you could have been raised around anything else.
And if you are really into fine arts, if I redraw Mona Lisa, am I ruining your childhood?
Are you
Mona
out?
Lisa still exists.
Yeah.